Welcome to the Karyn and Reece Show. I'm psychic medium Karyn Reece with my wonderful co-host Alexa Zappia.
Hello, how are you?
Busy as always, as you well know.
Yes, of course. So I kind of took to Instagram and asked kind of what people really want to know from you. And one of the things that came up was, what is life like in heaven? So can you kind of explain, what that's like?
That's a good question. There's various different landscapes. So depending, it's all about real estate. Location, location, location. The higher you go, the better it gets, the lower it goes, not so good. So, but where most people will end up, it's a landscape similar to where we are now, earthly realms. The difference is waters, for instance, here it's blue, but over there it's an incredible blue, shades that we don't see with our eyes here. The size of roses, maybe 3 inches by 3 inches, but over there they're going to be like maybe 6 inches. And you get a real sense of calmness, and it's like you could feel, angelic energy all around you. You could see people's auras. Sunsets are more than just the sorbet or sherbet-looking sunsets that we see here. On the other side, you can meet up with your loved ones. You have houses, for instance. You have casinos, really good ones. Just saying. You see your pets as well. So there's a lot of opportunity. There's education over there. Mm-hmm. And also what you end up doing on the other side is you look at your past lives, you look at your current life, how well did you do, and then you look at potential future lives. Mm-hmm. And you do that with your guides and your loved ones or people that you want to connect with in your next life. So
leading to the next point actually was someone asked, do you actually get to choose, like in this lifetime you might be with your family, but could you live with like a celebrity on the other side, or do you have to stick with your family?
That's a good question. Nope, it's all open. Although most people tend to, yes. It's like here, there's really no difference, mm-hmm. So except for on the other side you have no pain, usually you're in your most healthiest. Mm-hmm. Typically most people they look around the age of like 25 to 30 and they feel energy. If you have some sort of illness or sickness here, over there you're in great health in that particular landscape. But you can pick who you want to live with in your future lifetime. You can choose to live with a husband number 1 or maybe a husband number 2 mm-hmm. on the other side. There's really no difference. It's sort of the same principles and concepts.
Is it like a mutual mm-hmm. like agreement, I guess? Can you not just be like, oh, I want to live with XYZ, or does it have to be like that person says I want to live with you, and then you have to say yes and accept?
It's mutual, yeah. Okay. It just the way we live here is essentially the way we live there. The understanding, it's mutual, it's agreed upon. So, although I guess in other countries where you don't have freedoms, in heaven you would have freedoms to mm-hmm. pick and choose. So that's a key point. Yep.
And then also, is there work on the other side? Because it's so consuming in this life. I think people are waiting for the answer that no, there's no work on the other side. But is that actually true?
You can choose to work, and I'll tell you,
who would want to choose to work?
Exactly, or cook. Yeah.
No, thank you. Who would want that?
But you have that as an option, or you can do vocations, or whatever your little heart desires. A lot of what comes here, in fact, everything that's here originates on the other side. Some of the greatest minds, Einstein would intuit, and people don't realize this, and Thomas Edison would intuit information that would lead to whatever their theories or their inventions mm-hmm. On this side. So cars on the other side that are maybe 100 years ahead, they eventually trickle down to this world. So things here actually originate on the other side.
So with that said, are there technological
mm-hmm.
advancements?
Yep.
Like, was the iPhone, which came out in I don't know what year here, but was that like something that came out mm-hmm. at that age in the 20s? Like, does that, mm-hmm. I don't know, yep. Like, does it have to be right away? Or like, what's that time between something that arrives here than something that's on the other side?
It really depends. I think what happens, the invention may evolve over on that side or originate on that side, but maybe people here aren't ready for that yet. Mm-hmm. It really just depends on dynamics. God plays a little hand into all of this as well. And mm-hmm. A lot of what we have here, is based on our understanding of who we are. This world gives us a chance to reflect who we are by what we do, how we think, how we treat others, how we treat ourselves. Mm-hmm. The things that we do, it's like we're challenging ourselves. Makes sense. Are we better people? Do we treat animals with love and kindness? Do we treat our neighbors with love and kindness?
Love it.
Do we like to cook? That would be a no.
No.
Yep. And we don't
Hard no. Hard no, my friends. Well, awesome. That was like super insightful. Thank you. And we'll be back for more from the Karyn and Reece Show. Welcome back to the Karyn and Reece Show. We are so excited to have our next guest with us. His name is Andy Alberth. He's the CEO and founder of Sportscon, and he's here with us today. So Andy, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Trust me, it's our pleasure. So anyways, can you tell our audience exactly, what your brand is, what your store, what your business is all about?
Yeah, I mean, it started as a sports convention. It started actually as a fantasy football convention. It's kind of grown into a multi-sport convention where you can meet athletes. And it's built kind of like Comic-Con, but it's a little bit different. Instead of meeting your favorite superheroes like Iron Man and Chewbacca or Jon Snow, you can come there and meet your favorite sports players, and you can come catch footballs from Patrick Mahomes, get in the batting cages with Pete Rose, the all-time hitter in baseball history. You can play basketball, and it's not all boys or guys. We have women's basketball. We have Nancy Lieberman. She's like the godmother of basketball. So she comes and does camp. Dr. Jen Walters, the first female football coach in NFL history. She comes and does a kids camp as well. So it's for all ages and all people to be able to kind of come together to either learn sports, want to meet their favorite athletes, or just kind of take pictures, learn anything you can from these guys. And it's just the interaction that you don't get when you go to a sporting event. And it's kind of morphed into, we do a lot of marketing now. So we get athletes marketing deals too, in this sense. And we're working on a kids football camp thing where they're actually able to contact professional athletes in multiple sports, not just football, but to be able to call them and ask them or go through a training session online. So there's a lot of different webs of what Sportscon is kind of growing into.
It's great.
Love it.
So there's no secret that your cousin is Tony Romo, who's great. But I think your bond, just because knowing your bond is not like that of cousins. It's actually like brothers. So can you kind of explain your relationship with Tony and how that has helped you? Well, first of all, your relationship with Tony, and then professionally, how that has helped you create or develop Sportscon.
Yeah, we grew up cousins, 11 months apart in Wisconsin. We were two different cities next to each other. So we used to kind of talk our parents into letting any sleepovers and things like that, so we could play games, whether it was sporting games, video games, board games. And we were just both very competitive. We didn't want to lose. He would always kind of find unique ways to win. There was one time I actually didn't want to lose Monopoly. So I actually grabbed my Monopoly money from my own home, brought it. So I would never go broke. We played Monopoly there. So it's literally one of my moves. And I kind of see it in Tony's oldest kid too, the way he thinks. So it's kind of funny. But we
really
work together. Yeah. He's always been, I just kind of knew the kid was special. He was different than a lot of the other kids. He took it more serious. He really focused on the small details. Instead of going out, or if he had a party to go to, he would actually rather be practicing and working on getting better type thing. So even though he didn't get a scholarship or a big scholarship in college or drafted, just always had that feeling, just knowing him personally, that he was going to make it one way or the other. He just was so determined that I've never seen anybody else like that. And now being in the business and representing athletes, you kind of noticed, and there's some books about it as well, but you notice that it's almost that competitive edge is what makes these guys so good. They're going to they can make a game right on the table and they're going to want to beat you. It doesn't matter. Whatever they're playing, they're going to try to find a way to beat you. And they're going to literally be upset if they don't beat you. So we grew up, yeah. And then I lived in Vegas, went my own path. He became quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, holds every single record passing wise here in Dallas, which is really cool. And then 8 years ago, I moved here. So we kind of drive him to the games or practices and just kind of built a relationship with some of the coaches and players, and realized what I wanted to do after that. I knew once he retired that I never wanted to be his cousin or, feed off him. Like I've seen other athletes, family members do. I wanted to build my own foundation. So came up with this idea, what I was doing real estate when I first moved here. And it just kind of morphed into a fantasy football convention, then into Sportscon. And what I've learned from him the most, you guys asked that question, was probably just bringing back the determination. Whether it was as a kid in college when they wanted him to change positions. They didn't want him to play quarterback. He was a fourth string. They asked him to come play tight end. He said, no, look, give me a shot. Let me try this. And then all off season long, he's out there throwing footballs at midnight. Anybody he could find to throw footballs, to work on his throwing motion, things like that. Just seeing so hard he worked on things. Like he'll go to the Pro Bowl and he'll pick these other guys' brains, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. How do you hold that football? Why is your finger here? Like he's always wanting to know what the greats are doing type thing.
Interesting. So can you explain how Sportscon has developed, and then also has your mission changed or has it remained the same?
I would say it's always, I think it's always stayed the same. The mission is very simple. It's just about kind of bringing smiles to kids' faces. And it's just something that we never got to do as kids. And I always bring it up to people. I'm like, could you imagine if we had this as kids and these adults are like, they would die for something like this. They just think it's so cool. Of what it is. I mean, it started as a fantasy football convention, and we brought in the top fantasy experts from CBS, ESPN, Yahoo, which are the 3 top platforms you can play fantasy on. And we'd have them on the main stage, and they're giving the best fantasy advice literally a week or 2 before you had your draft. But then athletes are walking around the convention, and that's the difference between us, Comic-Con, is these athletes actually walk around and they interact with the fans, but they interact with the sponsors as well. And seeing them, the fans would leave the main stage to get closer to the athlete. And that's when I knew that it could be so much bigger than just fantasy football. And it was more about the players that we brought there than it was the fantasy experts. So then we came up with the SportsCon idea, bring a basketball court, bring batting cages, bring wrestling rings, boxing rings, things like that. And we just keep evolving into new things. Like we're going to do women's gymnastics. We're going to have like a little tumble set up and things like that. There's new things. We have an esports Microsoft lounge where you're able to play video games against them. So it's always evolving. I think we're going to do a high school kids dunk contest on our basketball court, but then we may do a social media thing where it's like kids, whether they're 6 years old and you have those little hoops that they have in their living room, you see how to go viral. We'll have the top 4 videos we pick and launch it. The kids can do their dunks, and then we'll pick 4 and then have them as part of the dunk contest as well and bring the little hoops in. So we'll have celebrity judges doing the dunk contest, things like that.
That's awesome.
Nice. Speaking of which, so if our audience would like to get a hold of you or find out more about Sportscon, where can they access that information?
Yeah, they can follow us on social media, or they can go to the website, gosportscon.com, or our social media handles are all Go Sportscon. And if you want to follow, it's also Andy Alberth on all of the social media handles.
Awesome. Andy, thank you so much for joining us. This was such a pleasure to have you. And hopefully maybe you'll bring Sportscon to Buffalo. Who knows?
Well, we get guys there.
Awesome. Andy, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Karyn Reece Show. As always, anytime Karyn's around, spirit's around. So if you'd like to potentially win a reading to hear from your past loved ones or hear about your future, you may do so by visiting her website at www.karynreece.com, spelled KarynReece.com. You can also enter on Facebook at Karyn Reece Psychic Medium, or on Instagram and on Twitter at Karyn Reece, or TikTok, Karyn Reece and the number 1. You can also send her an email, Karyn, Karyn, and then the little @ sign, KarynReece.com. In your submission, please make sure you put your first and last name, phone number, email address, and why you deserve to win a reading. So today we have a very lucky winner with us who wrote to us on Instagram. Hayley, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hi, guys. So excited to be here.
Awesome. So excited to have you with us. Karyn, take it away.
By the way, so is your grandfather. He's laughing about this. He said to tell you, he said, you work so hard, you need to take a little time off and relax. Do you work too hard?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is all I do.
All work and no play, Hayley, makes life a little boring. Yes.
True.
By the way, this is going to sound weird. Do you have like a faux fur winter coat or a faux fur jacket, or were you trying on like a faux fur something the other day?
I recently got a faux fur, very fuzzy winter coat that I wear often now.
Yeah, your grandfather loves it. So does Graham. You're très chic, so keep up the good work. I love, of course, with all you do is work, you need to wear it so you can go out, just so you know. The good news, though, I do see some things coming up all around you into the future based on what your grandparents are showing me. Oh, by the way, did something fall off and break recently? Was it a TV or something almost fell off, a computer or something glass?
I almost drop things very often.
Oh, be careful then what if you're carrying it, because he said something about almost dropping. So it must be something that you're going to catch, but FYI on that. The other quick thing too, I keep seeing 2 stations around you too. Are you working for 2 stations? Because I keep seeing 2 television stations. Okay, there's something. So there might be something involved, like a buyout or a merge or another station taking a look there. It's like 2 stations, or there's some kind of a connection into your future with 2 stations. Somehow I'm going from
I
one to
mean, the company I work for like a year ago merged with a different company.
oh, that's probably what I'm picking up then. Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
so I don't really work like directly for them. They're just more like they sign my checks.
okay. As long as I keep signing it. That's what your grandfather's saying, because he kept showing me like two together or whatever. So your career house looks really good, but I'm seeing like networking is where you're going to meet. You're going to meet your husband through some kind of a networking type of connection from what I'm seeing. And it's interesting because he's going to see you first before you're going to see him. Or he's going to recognize like you're the one before you recognize he's the one. Like there's just something, he's going to be drawn to you. It's going to be your eyes, because your eyes are very captivating and you're going to feel like you've always known him. And he's a really good guy. Like your parents will be happy about him. And he's normal. It's hard to find.
I like that.
Yeah. He's cute. He's fun. He's got dark hair. He's a gentleman too. Like he'll open the door, he'll buy your drinks or lunch. He's not going to expect you. Like, I always tell Alexa, if a guy's got a bun, you got to run, that type of thing. If he's not willing to buy your coffee, you got to run, So I love what I see. And they're showing me one solid marriage, but you also have ties coming up into your future with LA. So,
Okay.
You've got some more things ahead of you. So I like what I see as far as your career house is concerned. But you are so in your head. I never realized, like I saw you in your dreams, like you're dreaming work. That's not healthy. Yeah, that's not healthy. Is there a Fran connection? Francis, Francine, Fran?
Fran is like a great grandma, but also like my little sister's named after.
Oh, grandma's here. Grandma Fran. She says, Fran, just tell her Franny's here.
Yeah, Grandma Fran, great grandma Fran.
You need to rest more. And she says, oh, honey, she said, we love what you do. But you work way too hard. And she said, we all watch you in your sleep that you really don't sleep. And then when you do sleep, you go out of body talking about your work to grandma Fran and everybody else. So you're like really carrying this on into the other realms in your sleep state. And Franny says, I just worry a little bit. And she's really thrilled that your sister was named after her too. She goes, it just makes me so happy. She goes, just don't work too hard. If that's the advice I can give you, and she's got a good point. Life is too short. Who's Barbara, by the way? Is that a friend of your mom's?
Yeah, my mom has two good friends named Barbara.
Yeah, because somebody just said, tell your mom to call Barbara, one of her good friends. It was your aunt that said that. Let me pull your aunt in because they're all talking. I hate when they do this. She said to tell you, she goes, Hayley, she says, don't worry. She says, your ship is going to come in. You're definitely going to get married. She goes, you're such a beautiful young woman and you're going to go on to do great things. And she says, don't let people bother you or make you feel bad, which I think sometimes at work, stress gets around you and you're like, I know I did a good job and somebody's being a little snotty about it towards me or a little, and she says, don't let people bother you. She says, you're going to go on to do great things in this lifetime and they're all there to support you. But she wants you to go out and start having more fun. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that you don't do.
No, I guess I just want to show you guys a photo that I have in front of me. Wow. It's something. This is just one that I keep like on my dresser, but it's me with my grandpa and my auntie.
She just said, Grandpa loves it
before you showed me the picture. Yeah. Oh my God,
that's
how
so cute.
Is that you?
Yeah, this is me.
Look at how much hair you had as a kid. You were such a cute baby.
Thank you.
So
they're brother and sister, and they passed within a month of each other.
Oh, that's your auntie that was next to Grandpa. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't get to go to my aunt. So they were in London. I didn't get to go to my aunt's funeral. But when we went for my grandfather's, we then went to my aunt's house. And that's where I found this photo where I originally thought it was my sister in the photo. And then I saw a different photo of my sister holding me in this outfit. Oh. And so I just feel like it's like my two angels looking over me, like this photo.
I love that.
Before you showed it, Grandpa goes, I really like that photo. And your aunt smiled about that. Now we know why.
I love that.
Oh my God, you were a cute baby.
Thank you.
You were. And just think of it this way, you're going to have really cute babies too. Good gene pool.
Good gene pool.
You're going to have to wear the jeans.
I love it. Well, Hayley, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully this gave you the peace and the closure that you needed. Karyn, thank you. And Spirit, thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Did you know that ancient Greeks had 6 words for love? The most familiar is eros, or passion, what we have come to know as romantic love. However, there are many more. The second is philia, or deep relationship. those people you can count on when times get tough and will always be there for you. Third is ludus, or playful love. This can be flirting or just having a good time dancing with close friends. Next is agape, or love for everyone. This is the most selfless love we feel for everyone, from family to strangers. Common ways to express this is through volunteering and charitable acts. We all dream of pragma, or long-standing love. This love stands the test of time. Psychoanalyst Erich Fromm said that we expend too much energy on falling in love and need to learn how to stand in love. Last and most important is philassia, or the love you feel for yourself. Aristotle felt this was the most important because all other love grows from within. This Valentine's Day, Karyn Reece wants you to remember all the love you have in your life.
Welcome back to the Karyn Reece Show. If you would like to hear more about Karyn, you may do so by visiting her website at www.karynreece.com, spelled KARYNREECE.com. On there, you'll find how to book an appointment, more about the TV show, podcast, everything else that she's doing. You can also visit her on Facebook at Karyn Reece Psychic Medium, or on Instagram and on Twitter at Karyn Reece, or on TikTok at Karyn Reece and the number 1, or you can send her an email, Karyn, Karyn, and then the little @ sign, KarynReece.com. You can also call her office phone at 716-580-2520. Awesome show today!
Great questions. Gotta love
Thank you.
them.
Look, it came from Instagram. It came from our little posse on Instagram who wanted to know what life in heaven was like. Because I think that's something that, like, I think people think that we're just sitting on, like, floating, like, little clouds.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, which is funny, because, I mean, up until that conversation, I thought that we were. So I guess there's actual life on the other side.
Well, there's the cloud on the other side, too. That would be under the technology department, speaking of
But
which.
see, I mean, I don't want to, like, work on the other. I just want to be
Zen?
Yeah,
You could do
zen
that, too.
and peaceful. I don't care to work anymore on the other side. I feel like probably done my deed by that point, you know? So, but thank you. That was really insightful.
Well, as always, we have a great time, one way or the other.
One way or the other. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of The Karyn Reece Show, and we'll be back for more next week.